The first topic which I am going to take today is what is Six Sigma. So, the most common definition of what is Six Sigma, or which you might have heard very often or read it somewhere, is that it's a management technique which reduces the number of defects in any process to 3.4 defects per million opportunities. Now, there is nothing wrong as such with this definition, but what I believe is that it just talks about the statistical terms. It just describes Six Sigma in statistical terms, whereas, and this limits the scope of Six Sigma, because Six Sigma cannot be explained only in the statistical terms. It is much wider in its scope, so it should be dealt as in statistical terms as well as in business terms. So I am going to explain Six Sigma in both these terms. So first, let me give you a very basic definition of Six Sigma so that you know what does it encompass. So Six Sigma is a business strategy which includes statistical tools, non-statistical tools, change management tools, project management skills, and you can say teamwork skills. Plus a very important roadmap, that is DMAC. This is the portion, the DMAC model, which we are going to study throughout this course. This is a very important and effective methodology which is used in Six Sigma. So all these tools and techniques and skills, when used together, they help any organization to just increase its or boost its return on investment. Right, so all these techniques, it's not only statistical tools. I said it's statistical tools, non-statistical tools, project management skills, teamwork skills, and a very effective methodology, DMAC. All these are used together and they help an organization to increase or to boost its return on investment, its profits, whatever you can say, and this is done because all these tools are used together to remove the defects and waste from our products and services. Plus, now when we just remove the waste and defects from products or services or from our processes, like how we are creating our products and services, so what happens is that our total, our cost of poor quality decreases, goes down. Plus, our customers are really happy with our products and services because what they are getting is in defect-free, error-free services. So all this helps to lead, which just boosts our profits for any organization. So this is how Six Sigma helps to just attain good profits and just a good amount of customer loyalty. Now let's move on and study Six Sigma. As I've already told you that I am going to explain it in statistical terms, as well as in business terms. So in statistical terms, as I've already told you, that in statistical terms, Six Sigma implies 3.4 defects or mistakes per million opportunities. Right, so here what you can notice is that Six Sigma is used to represent the variation about the average of the process, right? So if I have to explain this, what is the variation about the average of the process? So if we have to draw the picture of an ideal process, so it would look like something like this. These are our spec limits, this is our mean or an average of the process, and this would be something like this, where our process is centered around the mean and it is within the spec limits. So this is an ideal process, but you know that variation is always there, and whenever a process is going on, and Six Sigma is used to fix this variation. So first it would just tell you what is the variation in this process. Now the processes can be like this. they can be out of the spec limits, or they can they are not centered around the like they are not centered here, they should be centered here, but the peak is here or it's here. So what you can say is that Six Sigma is first used to represent the variation about the average or a mean of the process, right. So but one thing always remember is that the Six Sigma is not used to count the number of defects in a process, rather it is used to count on the processes which can lead to defects. Okay, I can explain this by using an example of a call center, right. Every day we make calls to a call center to get information about a product or service or something like that. So I've just taken that example. So let's study all those processes which can lead to customer dissatisfaction or even the lost customer, because if the customer won't get his information in a good way, so he will obviously choose or move to another company if he is not already using those services. If you are not having a credit card of a particular company and you are using their services, call center services, to just inquire about the process and you are not getting complete information, so obviously you will think about some other bank or some other company. So let's study the process and the various sub-processes which are going on and which can lead to defects and finally customer dissatisfaction. So the first thing is that the manner in which the customer is greeted by the customer service representative. Obviously, if you think that the person is not enthusiastic enough to take your call, or he is not responding like he is not very helpful, so you will just it will just let you down, or it will just put you down, so you won't be interested in talking to him. And then the accuracy of the information provided by the agent. This is very important because you've just made a call to inquire about certain product or service, and if the information provided is not correct, then it would lead to customer dissatisfaction. And then is the queue time. Obviously you won't like to wait for a long time before anybody takes your call, and same way number of rings before an agent responds. So wait time is a very crucial factor when it comes to a call center services. And then listening and speaking skills of the agent, obviously it's very clear. And then time taken to restore the service when fault is reported. If you're facing any difficulty in using their products or services, and you just call those people up, and the time they take to fix the issue is also one of the factors which can lead to customer dissatisfaction. If they're taking too long or they're not responding properly, so it would lead to customer dissatisfaction. And then the manner in which the call is ended, and finally timely arrival of the requested follow-up material. So this is very, very important. So if you think that you have asked them to just send you some email with all the information, and what is the time do we have to wait for this information? Is it timely or not? So this can also lead to customer dissatisfaction. So now the objective of the Six Sigma process is to study this complete process. So what is our objective? So the objective of any Six Sigma process is to understand this process completely. You have to understand the various steps so that you can find out where are the defects. First step is obviously you have to understand and study this process, and the second one is where are the defects. Where are the defects in this process? And then you have to devise ways or the process improvement techniques so that you can fix these defects. Right? So your objective is first to study this process, then you have to study where you have to find out where are the defects, and then finally you have to devise ways to fix those defects. So your focus as a Six Sigma process, the focus of this process would be on four things. The first thing is nature of defects. So this is the first thing. So if you're just using this methodology, you have to first find out what is the nature of the defects, that whether it's due to a human error, it's a technological error, or it's a software glitch. So you have to find out the nature of the defects, like here in case number 1, and then finally this one, that is the manner in which the call is ended, or the listening and speaking skills of the agent, all these are human errors. And if there is a glitch, like you just ask them to fix up and this software is not being fixed, or there is a problem in the software, then it's a software problem. Or you can say if the call just ends abruptly. So that's a technological error. So you first have to understand the nature of the defects, or what kind of defects are there. And then second focus should be on why are these defects occurring and their frequency. Now you have to understand, you have to study the process, and you have to understand the underlying factors, the root causes of why these defects are occurring. That is, you have to first understand their nature, and then you have to study the root causes of all these defects and their frequency, that is how often they are occurring. It's just a once in a while that the customer was not greeted properly, or it's a regular habit of that particular representative, or any other thing that the call just got disconnected, it was just once, or it just happens frequently. So that you can understand the process and then figure out ways to fix those. And then the third focus is impact on the customer. Now we are studying this complete process. Why we are studying? We are studying so that we can see that why our customer is not satisfied with our services. So obviously we are going to study the impact of these defects on the customer, that how our customer is reacting to those defects. And then finally, number 4, you have to figure out ways to measure the defects. How to measure the defects. Plus, you have to devise the methods to fix these defects. So, this is how we can understand Six Sigma in statistical terms. Let's move on and study Six Sigma in business terms. So basically in business terms, Six Sigma implies increasing the business profitability, and this profitability can be increased by driving out waste from our processes. Plus, by lowering the cost of poor quality. And by increasing the efficiency or effectiveness of our products and services. And by doing this, what a company or an organization does is that it meets or even exceeds the customer expectations. And when the customer expectations are met, this means they are happy with our products and services. This leads to the increased business profitability, right? So basically a Six Sigma starts with a business strategy. So we start with a business strategy, because Six Sigma is a very structured and a methodological approach. So you have to follow all the processes, and it ends with top down implementation. Obviously, you would have a strategy, then to get the results you have to implement that strategy. By this top down implementation, what I mean is that the complete organization, all the people from the top rungs to the lower ones, have to participate to make it a success. And the role of the top leadership is very, very critical in Six Sigma implementation, because if leaders are not enthusiastic or effective, or they are not well educated about this technique is doomed. It won't get you any results. So, what you have to understand is that Six Sigma is not a hypothetical approach, it is a very methodological and a scientific approach. It is not that you just put your toe out and just check the water whether it is good enough for swimming or not. So, what I want to say is that Six Sigma replaces the intuition based decisions, that is what we think is wrong. So, this is your intuition based thinking, that the intuition based decisions that we think this is wrong, but Six Sigma replaces it. It says you do not have to think, it should be replaced by fact based decisions. This means that what we know is wrong. This means Six Sigma is a very, very methodological approach. It uses data analysis technique, it listens to its customers, only then it devises methods to improve the products and services. Here I would like to tell you that all the products do not need Six Sigma process capability. Just some time back we just studied an example of a call center. So, this call center, the same call center just had this focus that that 90% of the customers who wish to talk to the customer care representative should be connected to a customer representative within 5 or 6 calls, right. So, this was their target, but they just had a customer survey done so that they can understand their process better, and through the survey they found out that the customers were willing to wait even up to 8 to 9 rings if they were informed by some recorded voice that soon they will be connected to a customer representative. So, this is not something which is uncommon, we very often hear these recorded voices, and through the same survey they found out that the customers were not the customer satisfaction or the customer expectations were not very, apparently they were not very happy if they were connected in 2 or 3 calls. So, this does not have much impact on the customer satisfaction. So, what we know is that every process does not have to follow Six Sigma process capability, though there are processes which need process capability which is even higher than Six Sigma. For example, the airline landing, you don't have scope for errors over there. So, its process capability is even higher than Six Sigma, and then our digital watches, they just function on a process capability which is greater than Six Sigma. So, what I am trying to tell you is that as a Six Sigma professional, your focus should be on listening to what your customer needs are, what your customer demands are, or what he thinks about your processes, or what are the problems they are facing. So, you should just collect data, collect information, and then design your processes. Your focus should be on continuous improvement, and the profits are bound to come in.